A question I was asked by a couple people on my channel is, what is the difference between a Summit and Summit Reserve on the Grand Cherokee L? And today we're going to figure out what it is, because it's pretty hard to see if you're not looking. And the front is an example of that, because this is like a platinum color design for the grille, like that brightness to it. It's same thing goes for the bottom piece too. It shares the same features as the Summit Reserve, so you don't really see it pop out as much on this one. But all in all, man, I think this is the best Grand Cherokee ever. It really does look good. I think it's very controversial for some people, but I really think that they did a great job, like stepping up from that older design. I mean, the Grand Cherokee WK is a really good design. I think that really was like the trendsetter for all SUVs, and it got a lot of awards for it too. I mean, the design for the interior and exterior. But let's get back to this one. So up front, you do have a reflective style LED setup here, and it's going to be high and low beam too. You also have a LED fog light. You do have your parking sensors down below. You do have a front camera with radar cruise control. I do not see that this one does have the night vision, which is available for this, so just keep that in mind. And moving over to the side, you have a beautiful 20-inch wheel. It's going to be wrapped in a 265/50/20, and it's a really stylish wheel. This is a design that Jeep has used for years, like probably 20 plus years. Like probably back in 1996-97, they had a similar design wheel as this. They do use like a fabric material inside of here, probably for sound deadening and for like ease of cleaning. And you do have, which is very controversial for me, you do have a coiled suspension front and rear. They do delete the air suspension, active suspension on these because of the chip shortages, what they're using right now, which I think is a bunch of BS. But that's just me. I'm not going to give my opinion all the time, because I can get in trouble for that sometimes. But nevertheless, it's one less thing to break. Let's just keep it at that. But you do have that same platinum design on the mirror right here. Down below, I believe it's the same color actually. It looks like more like a chrome. No, that's the same color. It is the same color. So yeah, it's the same platinum look. Same thing goes for the emblems too, with your American flag. Yeah, it just kind of wraps all the way up over the windows. It does continue on the roof rails too, so it looks really nice. I like it better than chrome. Chrome is just so in your face. And they even slap it on top of the door handles too. This does have a smart key system, so if you push these three lines here, it will lock the door. You would slide your hand in to unlock it. You do have heated mirrors with blind spot, and you do have a camera and puddle lights down below. But this design is really beautiful. It's not too big, not too small. It's just right. And I think the wheels, though I like more of like a darker accented wheel, they do look really good on here. There's not a lot of chrome on here, so it just does flow well. Now, if you take a look back up top, this design continues down here. It's really classy. And it really just finishes off the rear perfectly. Like, you have a small platinum look down below. It just looks so nice. And I like the tail lights too. They're thin, they're sleek, timeless. You do have that L badge, 4x4, and the Summit badge. It says Grand Cherokee just below that Summit too. They do hide the hitch out back, and they do finish the tailpipes, although they're not connected to the exhaust, in that platinum look too. And it is actual metal. This is all like kind of like plastic, but because this is going to get hot from the exhaust, they actually step this up a little bit, make it a little bit nicer. You can tell you do have the parking sensors. They're kind of hidden, which is good. You have a backup camera right here. And this does not have that available camera for the rear view mirror too, which it is available for that. Every light out back is LED, and you do have a parking sensor on the side. This comes in handy if you do pull into a tight garage. And I believe they do the same thing on the other side too. But check out the paint in the sun. You saw it on the other side when it was a little bit darker. But yeah, this is a really deep black. Like even in the sun, it just really absorbs the brightness. I mean, it's such a deep black, and it has like that pearl look on the paint too. Sorry, it's a little dirty, but looks really nice. I didn't point out on the other side, but you do have the turn signals on the mirror too. Alright guys, so let's talk about this power plant here. So this is standard on a Summit and Summit Reserve with a 3.6 liter V6. Now, my opinion is this: if you're going to spend upwards of $60,000 plus, you can afford another $4,000. I'm just being honest here. I mean, if I was Jeep, I would have made this a standard equipment up until the Overland, and made the Summit and Summit Reserve standard with the V8. I hope they change that in the future. I know they've done the V6 availability on the Summit in the past on the WK Grand Cherokee, but I just feel like if you're going to spend 60 grand, you could afford another $4,000 for that power plant. And although this has 290 horsepower, 257 pound-feet of torque, which is decent performance out of this, it's sluggish. It's made it to an 8-speed transmission called the 850 RE, which is basically a car transmission. But if you get the 5.7 liter V8, you get the 8 HP 75, which is basically like the half-ton Ram transmission, and it's really smooth. So just because it's out of a truck, it's really smooth. I just think that they should have made that standard for these higher turn levels, at least for the Reserve. But for the Summit and Summit Reserve, you do get a standard V6. So there you have it. Inside the Grand Cherokee L Summit, you're greeted with this beautiful diamond cut leather. It continues on the seats too, and this is like a caramel color too. It's pretty much everywhere. It's on the dash, it's on the door cards as you just saw, and it's pretty much out back too. Like, they don't cheap out and just give it to you on the first and second rows. They go all the way to the third row, which you'll see here in a second. But one thing that jumped out at me with the difference in these interiors is that this Summit has an Alpine sound system. Now, if you don't know, Jeep did join together with Macintosh, and they are building that higher premium sound system in like the Reserve, which would come standard. It's going to be 19 speakers compared to this one. But other than that, most people can't even tell the difference between these sound systems. But you do have automatic up and down windows, front and rear, and all the buttons, everything looks beautiful. I can't say anything negative about this interior. I think that it looks timeless, and it's just well appointed. I mean, even for example, they do allow you to even change the bolstering on the side. So if you want to drive this on the back roads a little bit more spirited, you can do that. However, you don't have air suspension, so I think that air suspension helped a lot better. So just something to think about. But stepping inside is really easy. And again, you're greeted with a bunch of leather, a bunch of stitching, just everywhere. They also have like a lot of like that piano black too. I definitely would recommend keeping a microfiber inside the interior, and I would probably change them out every so often so you don't scratch any of this. And I would not put those on the floor too. I'd definitely keep one that's clean and off of the floor so you can keep this nice and from scratching it up. You do have push button start. This does have a autonomous, I think it's level 2 system, and I'm going to do a separate video from this one. We're going to drive it, and I'm going to show you guys how that works. We're not going to do it in this video today just because I don't know how long it's going to be, and I want to take time to really show that to you. But you are greeted with a 10.25 inch screen here, and you have a 10.1 inch screen on the side. So when you put it into the on position, or the run position as they call it, everything just kind of comes to life. Of course, when you start it up, the V6 does have like a decent sound to it. You can hear it inside the interior. And as you guys see on the steering wheel, they do give you paddle shifters, and you can control the screen with the arrows on the side here. If you push this button, it gives you like a quick menu here to kind of choose what you want to look at, and it just takes you there. Very easy to use. The buttons feel okay inside of here. I'm not a huge fan of the fit and finish of the buttons. I would like to see something a little bit more plush, especially on these higher trim levels. I mean, this thing's not cheap. Even in the Laredo, is, you know, they're pretty expensive. I mean, they're like $37,000, so that's starting price. And if you add four-wheel drive and a few features on it, they can get up to 40 really quickly. But all in all, this is a really good design. I think that most people will find this easy to use, especially if you've owned a few of these in the past. I think they really do come together a lot better. But the only thing that this is missing is that night vision, and it does not have heads-up display. So if you want those features, you will have to click a specific package for that. Now, you do have memory seats for the driver and for the passenger side, so that's just something to take note of. And everything looks good. I mean, you have to give Jeep credit here. They did a good job. Even when you look at the air vents, like, they really did a good job, like, to the attention to detail with this interior. Like, even like how the screen kind of looks like it's floating off of the dash. Even how they set the buttons up top here. You do have that stop start system. This is for that lane keep assist, traction control. You do have your caution lights, and then for your parking sensors, you can turn those off. And for if you want to park this or allow this to park itself by itself, you have that option too. You do have dual climate control. Now, I do know, let's take a look at the rear. If you hit rear, you can unlock this. This is actually like a 4-zone climate control. I had to look for a second. I couldn't remember if it was optional or standard for this Summit, but it is a 4-zone climate control for the Summit, okay? And I mean, everything's really easy to use. I don't want to spend too much time in here because you can get lost in this system. I mean, everything looks really upscale. I love this. And the home is really pretty cool too. Like, you have your pages here, so you can add a page, delete a page. Like, for example, if you want to add, let's see, you can like change the layout, for example. So let's do a 3 layout. So you have that page, you can, and then you can set up, they call it widgets. So you can put your navigation here, your Sirius XM, and then they have phone. Okay. And up top too, if you want to get to like your heated seats or things like that, you can do them here. And they have buttons outside of the screen. So if you do have the screen off, so you can turn the screen off if you'd like by pushing the button here on the side. So you can still use these. Now, if you do change the temperature or the fan level, it does still pop up even with the screen off. As I mentioned to you, you do have covers for just about everything on the center stack here. So if you open this one up, you do have a charging pad, which is wireless for your phone. You have 4 USBs, Type A and Type C. And you do have your basic power plug. Sorry, it's really dark too. And they did delete your air suspension, so that would have been here. I mean, they only give you $750 off for that, which I think is silly, but you still can change the driving modes, which are convenient for you. And they do hide your cup holders, and they do illuminate this area, and that's where you can put the key at. The center console does have storage, and it has a deeper storage below. I don't, however, see that this slides. I would like to see that in the future, though. That's something I'd like to see. And you do have an auto-dimming mirror, place to put your shades or glasses, and they do appoint the interior with LED lights too. And if you do have this really big sunroof, which comes standard on these higher trim levels, you do have a screen that rolls automatically out back. Home link, and they do provide LED lights for this vanity, and they give you grab handles too on both sides. Now, I do know that some of these things use like active noise cancelers around the interior, but yeah, those do help with like just the overall noise level inside here. One last thing I forgot to show to you too. I think you guys probably have already seen it. So if you go to controls, Or actually, no, let's go back to comfort. This is the easiest way to find this. So you do have massaging seats. So if you turn them on, you have a few different levels. You can do high, medium, low for the amount of force it's giving you. You can do lower back. You can do like what's called low extend. And it works pretty good too. I have to tell you, I do like the idea that they don't put it on the bottom part. I don't like, you know, massaging seats on the bottom, but they just do it for your back, which is really nice. This is definitely a lot going on here. So you could I could spend probably an hour and a half of a video going through this system, and I'll be honest with you, I do not want to do that because, yeah, it would be a lot. But if you look over to the side, you do have this wood trim piece. It's not real wood. It doesn't really even feel that nice to the touch, but it definitely looks nice. So just don't touch it and you will think it's real wood. But it kind of continues over to the side here too. And I didn't show this to you, but this side of the seat does extend too. So there's quite a few ways that this seat can be adjusted to give you the best comfort. And one last thing too is this does illuminate. Now let's take a look out back. Now out back, you do have that wood trim piece with that caramel stitching, and it does continue on the seats too. Small cup holder right here for like maybe a bottle of water. You did notice that these in that charging station were optional too. I wanted to make that clear. So this is an option for the Summit, okay? So just keep that in mind. You do have some back seat storage for your rear occupants too. And as I mentioned too, you do have dual climate control. You also have heated seats, more USBs, and you have a power plug too. Now when you step up to a Summit and Summit Reserve, they do give you a center console for the second row occupants. So it gives you some storage. This does pop out to give your kids some spaces to put stuff. Like if they play games, they can put them down there. And cup holders, a little bit extra storage there. And they have as much USBs as they could ever want to keep their stuff charged up too. And this second row, these seats do slide. And I don't know if you can tell, but there is a light under the seat too. And when you have the door closed, this is definitely pretty comfortable. I would say that most people would find this slightly larger than the regular Grand Cherokee, which is a WK. But if you're looking at a Wagoneer, I would say this will probably feel small if you were to go between the two. Now, if you were to slide this seat back, they give you a handle on the top here, and it just kind of slides back. This is a carpet mat. Even for me, it is pretty easy to get to the third row seat. And believe it or not, if I were to put the seat back, this seat is actually up to a little bit, so I would not be comfortable with it being in this position unless the driver were to go up a little bit further. But I would find this to be really adequate for me to be comfortable. They still give you Type A and Type C. Your kids can even charge like their switch back here too. And they give it to you on both sides. You have air vents on the sides as opposed to putting them on the roof. I did hear something from one of the Jeep executives where they said the reason why they did that was because it gives you more headroom back here. Because even on the side of the B pillars, they have the air vents too, right there. So it does come in handy. But all in all, really good storage. And check this out. I did not know that. So even back here, they have additional storage. Isn't that cool? That is really cool that Jeep did that. That is so cool. So you have storage basically right there. Hold on here. Actually, hold on. Let's see something real quick. Okay, no. So when you pop that out, whatever the kids in the second row or whoever's sitting in the second row, whatever they put down there, the rear occupants can steal it. So if you put your candy down here in the second row, your younger brother or sister could take it from you, so just keep that in mind. Lastly, you can put these thorough seats down from the buttons here, one for each side, and they do it on both sides. It's really cool that they do that. They did not have to do that, but they did. Now if you walk on back, of course you do have a power lift gate, and you can drop the second row seats, and of course you can drop these seats too. If you like to see the second row, this pops down like that. And as you see, if you do have something in that seat and it fills it, it will actually pop back up too. So I actually didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a really good option to have if you're in the market for a mid-size SUV and $60,000 doesn't scare you. I mean, this is a good option for you. So the title of this video was, what is the difference between a Summit and Summit Reserve? I just showed you this Summit, which I have not shown you on my channel yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual differences between the Summit and Summit Reserve, and then that'll pretty much end the video. Now, as the title says, I want to go over the actual differences between a Summit and a Summit Reserve. So what are you getting for over $5,000 in differences? So this is the window sticker for the one we just reviewed, and base price $59,155. Total price $60,490. As you see, they deleted a few features here because of the chip shortage, which was the air suspension and active dampening and the trailer tow prep group. So that's $950 you save off of this window sticker. Now, I did a review on a Summit Reserve probably about 3 or 4 months ago now, and I pretty much just took a snapshot of the window sticker that I put online. So basically the differences between a Summit and a Summit Reserve is this $3,000 Summit Reserve group, which gives you 21-inch wheels, Palermo leather as opposed to Napa, 19 speaker, which is through Macintosh. You also have the ventilated rear seats, deluxe headliner, and Palermo leather door trim. You also get standard Advanced Protect group, so this doesn't get added as an option. It's standard, even though it shows as a price as an optional equipment. You cannot delete this. And it also has the luxury tech group, which is $245. So in total, $5,240 is what's added to the price to the Summit Reserve. And the biggest notable changes is the 21-inch wheels. The Macintosh sound system comes standard, and I like the fact that you get the probably like a suede headliner, so that makes the interior feel a little bit more upscale. And the difference between Palermo and Napa leather, I mean, in the comment section, let me know, because I probably couldn't tell you if you could even notice the difference, because I've sat in both Summit and Summit Reserve and I couldn't tell the difference. But on that note, I hope this was helpful. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys soon.